Hi there, folks. Glad to have you back with us. This is Perfect Game College Baseball and Perfect Game TV, and I'm glad to have my co-host back, Hunter Pence, who traveled the world, went down to Australia, and again, I've been sad and lonely. I've loved the interviews, but I've missed the energy. Mr. Pence, thanks for coming back. We appreciate you sitting by us in this chair, this virtual chair, and joining us as our co-host again.
It's great to be back, and I wanted to do it even though I was in Australia. The time is just 4:30 a.m., a little bit tough out there in Australia, but I've been keeping up with the college games. So many, great, it's college baseball. So many great games, great players, great things to talk about. So I'm pumped to be back, and I'm pumped to be back with you, Darren, the man, the myth, the legend, Darren Sutton, D. Sutton. You're the best.
Yeah, I'm still learning, my friend, each and every day, as you'll hear later on in the show, by the way. Hey, couple of guests, quick thoughts on each one of our guests. Hunter Hollan at San Jack just recently tossed a perfect game against Blinn. That's kind of the headline, but there's way more to the story on this young man, talented left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, very excited for Hunter Hollan. Obviously, perfect game is like, it's one of the most rare things you'll ever see, one of the most special accomplishments. And the fact that he's pitching for San Jack, that he's working with my old teammate, Woody Williams, one of the best you'll ever meet, the salt of the earth. And he's got a teammate that's a good friend of mine. We talked to him last year, Evan Godwin.
So Jack Hurley's at Virginia Tech, and he'll join us as well. He leads the nation, at the time of this interview anyway, he leads the nation in hitting. His on-base about 60 points higher at 500. A gifted left-handed hitter. You guys are going to talk hitting, man. Jack Hurley leading. I mean, think of it. There's 300 colleges. He leads the nation in hitting.
Yeah, very excited. I mean, he's off to a great start, and obviously a long way to go, but you want to hear about what adjustments did he make? Where does he attribute, this great start and, huge jump. Obviously, freshman to sophomore is a lot to learn, and it sounds like he took advantage of every little detail and shifted into this great season that he's having today.
Hit in his first 27 games. 27 to open the season. Finally dropped an offer on him, and as you'll hear later on, that's just baseball, and he has a good attitude about all of it. Before we go to break and we get to our first interview, congratulations, my friend, on joining the MLB Network and being a part of the Apple TV broadcast. The work that you did in your opener, you're going to have many more when people view this. It's got to be a lot of fun for you to continue to grow in this side of baseball.
Yeah, this is something that I really love. I love, I studied the game. I love the science, the art, the mentality, the people, and the relationship. So for me, this is what I love with baseball, and I want to share what I've learned, and I want to also continue to grow and continue to learn. I have a long way to go. So I love being a part of the games, and I'm very honored and very thankful to get the opportunity to work with you, Darren Sutton, to talk to the college kids, and also to be a part of the MLB Network. What I love, what we do, we love baseball.
Hunter checking all the boxes on the development. When we come back, our conversation with another Hunter, Hunter Hollan. Glad to have you with us. This, of course, is Perfect Game College Baseball on Perfect Game TV. Perfect Game College Baseball. And boy, we're excited about this one. My Hunters are joining us. Hunter Pence, of course, as we welcome you back on the air. And Hunter Hollan is joining us. As we said in the open, he tossed a perfect game at Blinn, and we want to dive deep into his journey. But Hunter, thanks for spending time with us now. We really appreciate it, my friend. Let's talk about that game. Let's talk about the accomplishment. A lot went to you arriving at San Jack. You've now been to the World Series, the JUCO World Series with them. You've got a deep history with them now already. But a day like that is a special day, whether it's with your pitching coach, Woody Williams, whether it's with your catcher, Eric Benitez. A day like that is a special day, so kind of let us live through it with you.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I would say I've been lucky enough to have 2 outings at San Jack that were kind of like, yeah, okay, we're going to step back and take this one in. I had one last year and had 17 Ks against Coastal Bend, and there were no hit, and I think in the 7th they hit a little bloop shot, and that one hurt. But kind of like the perfect game, I'd say to me, it was far from perfect. I could have definitely done better. But and I'd say in hitting spots, not so much. Like I just kind of got lucky on a few pitches that they didn't get around on it. But I'd say it was cool after the fact. Once I knew I just needed 3 more outs, it was definitely me versus me mentally, and it was cool, those last 3 batters, having to tell myself that I can do it. And it was a cool moment for sure.
Hunter, it's absolutely a cool moment. Perfect games are the hardest thing to do in all of baseball. We see so few of them, and obviously, congratulations. But I love to get to kind of behind the scenes of because to me, I think these are the culmination of a proper preparation of doing little things right, and it's a build up. So I want to hear a little bit, Hunter. What was kind of before you went into this game? What was your mindset? Was there anything in particular you were feeling before the game? Anything you ate the night before? Just like, can you give us a little bit of build up into this game?
Yeah, I would say the difference between this year, especially than last year, not just that game. Of course, everything went right that day for me, but not just that game, but this whole year, I've really set my preparation from. I've been starting every Thursday, so my preparation starts Friday morning at workouts. It goes from workouts to running, and then of course what I want to do throwing for that day. And that day was just another day. Really, I didn't feel anything else. I didn't feel any different. I just tried to hit spots like I do every day and pitch instead of throw. And so it was fun. It was a good time. And having Eric did an awesome job. We robbed a home run in the third inning. Ben Greer, left field, jumped up, robbed a home run, and brought it back. And so that was a big time moment. That was definitely a boost in our dugout. And then we came back in the bottom half of that inning, or in the top half of the fourth, and went back to back home runs. And it was a good moment. Everything leading up to how it happened was cool.
I love how you say that, and a lot of times, that like that's the special thing about a perfect game, and one of the best things about baseball is it's a team sport, and usually there's very rarely is there like no defensive play. It takes a little bit of everyone, and to have that where you accomplish it together. And I think something that was really insane is that it went no hitter into one hitter. Your teammates, I believe it was Evan Godwin threw the one hitter and Chris Stewart threw the no hitter, and all of this behind Benitez, your catcher.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned him and you mentioned the defense. So this leads me into, Hunter, like, talk to us a little bit about what it's like working with Benitez and what it's like working with Woody Williams, and how y'all become a battery together, how y'all synchronize.
For sure. I'd say Eric had a kind of a tough time earlier in the year being comfortable, just because he wanted to do really good for us and for himself. And I'd say once he got comfortable, it was smooth sailing. Nobody on base. He's on a knee, getting comfortable, and trusting that the pitchers are going to hit the spot. And I'd say that's a big thing for Eric, was getting comfortable with us and us getting comfortable with him. And Jose's done a great job too. He kind of rolled his ankle. He'll be out for a few weeks, but Jose's a really good behind the plate too. And but Woody, man, he's something else. He's turned me, I'd say, a boy into a man on the mound for sure. He is I'd say the pitch ability. Like he's kind of, it's crazy. He's done so much for me. Just pitch shaping and keeping mechanics nice and smooth, effortless velocity, and just letting the ball come out. And I'd say being a better defensive pitcher too. As soon as you let go of the ball, getting ready to jump off the mound and make a play. And so what he's done a lot for not just me, but I say everyone that has been through this program. If you don't listen to that man, you're doing something wrong for sure.
And so it's interesting, right? The pandemic changed everyone's life, but the pandemic changed your choice. I mean, because of the shortened draft in 2020, you were headed to Texas A&M. You made a choice based on your career. And, as fate would have it, you end up with Woody Williams because you make that choice to go to San Jacinto, and you make that choice to be a part of it. Take me back to how tough that decision may have been, back in 2020 when, you lost a good portion of your senior year in high school, and you make the choice, okay, I'm not going to where I committed my dream spot. I'm going to go to St. Jack instead. Kind of talk me through that decision, please.
Yes, sir. It was definitely a knife in the heart. Committed sophomore year, which is dumb. Everyone commits way too early now, I feel like. But committed sophomore year, so for 3 years, it was at Texas A&M. I was going to be a part of the whole cult thing, and but it was I think it was like a month before I was supposed to move in. Me and Celia had kind of been talking. We knew the 5-round draft was happening. They brought 7 left-handed pitchers back, and I probably could have went and maybe had a few innings freshman year, but not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go and play baseball. So got on the, I think Ray DeLeon from the Banditos gave Coach Weaver a call, and then Weaver called me, and then next thing you know, I was actually on vacation, and got on the phone with Woody, and that was it. That was it. Just knowing, and just the way he talked about the game and the way that he presented himself was game changer for me. And that's the only school I talked to. I didn't talk to anyone else. I was San Jack all the way.
No, that makes sense. It's interesting that you mention your travel ball journey. I'll go there then because a lot of times it doesn't fit, but it does here. Ray DeLeon with the Banditos. I saw you pitch in Jupiter back in 2018. Gosh, I think Trey Faltini, Drew Romo might have been on your team if I'm not mistaken.
Yo-Yo Morales.
Explain to me your travel ball journey, how it means a lot to have, when you made that choice, you were done. You were done with travel ball, but how it has to have a guy like Ray in your corner work with you. Explain that to me.
Yeah. I mean, with Ray, you love him or you really don't like him at all. And if you produce, you're gonna like him. And he's a gamer. He likes to win. And we flew out to Jupiter, and I was a junior, and that was the first tournament I ever played with him. And it was in the biggest game. It was Jack. I think I can't remember his last name. He was big righty, and then against a first rounder, and he was throwing 100 that day. And I got put in that game, my first game ever with him, and I did pretty good. And after that, he was like, "You're a dog, and you're gonna pitch a lot for me." And so that was cool pitching in that game with all those big time draft guys. And I was just a junior in high school. It was fun.
I do have to say that I can totally agree with the JUCO route and making sure that you're playing, because there's nothing that beats experience and the opportunity at San Jack, such a great organization, and the opportunity to get to learn from Woody Williams, one of my favorite teammates of all time. I was so fortunate to get to play with him. But I want to ask you a little bit back to the perfect game. And you talked about, when you had 3 outs left is when it became you versus you and mentality. But I wanted to ask you, was there a time during the game that you were like, whoa, like when did it hit you that like you had something really good going on, and like when did you get that feeling and just know that you were in the groove that day?
I didn't feel anything really. I was just trying to go out there and get the next out, make the next pitch. I didn't feel anything until the last 3 outs. It was after my last warm-up pitch, I was like, okay, this is it. And I was having to control myself, not overthrow, stay within my mechanics, and just get to the spot. And I did, and it was a good moment because it gave me the confidence that I could do it.
So it wasn't until the 9th inning that you actually kind of realized what was happening, and that was when you first realized something was happening, when that's the first time you felt tired?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then I just wanted to know a little bit about, like what did you tell yourself? You were just like, slow down, calm down, and that was it?
I was like, in my head, I was saying, I'm built for this. I can do this. He can't beat me. And, just stuff. I'm sure you've done it before too. Like you're just in a big moment and you're telling yourself that I've worked for this. I've prepared for it. I've prepared better than he has. So I'm going to win.
No, and I'm a huge advocate of self-talk and building yourself up. And I think that that's one of the most powerful things you can do as a player. And I think that that's great in the moment to especially when you're facing such a big moment like that, to do that positive self-talk. I'm a big advocate. I want to ask you, do you have a program for that kind of mentality talk? Did you do this naturally, or did someone kind of give you some advice and steer you in that direction?
Oh, for sure. I've had so many people be in my corner. It's unbelievable. But I would say I've always been a positive person. I've always tried to see the good and everything, and so nothing really gets me too far down. But I'd say the biggest guy that's changed my perspective in life is Inky Johnson. I absolutely love him. I've probably watched every video of him, and I try to listen to something positive every morning when I get out of bed. And I started that within the last few months, and he's my go-to. And I just love the way that he was at the top of his life. He was a couple football games away from making his NFL dream, and then his whole life changed, and he's helped me out a lot for sure.
Hunter, before I let you go, I have one simple question for you. One pitcher to another, obviously. A long, long time ago, I did what you did and envy your successes, certainly. But just give me a brief introduction to your pitches. You're accomplishing amazing things. I've read a lot of scouting reports. I could do that myself. I'd rather have you give me just a brief introduction to what you throw and maybe what's been your friend of late as far as the individual pitches.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of people don't know this. They have my fastball from like 86 to 92, 93, and I started throwing a cutter as of late. So probably the 85 to 88 is probably more of a cutter. The cutter, slider's kind of been my go-to, but it depends on which grip I throw, depending on if I throw a four-seam fastball that at bat or a sinker. And so just so the spin looks more the same and it's harder to recognize. And then throw a changeup. Changeup's kind of my baby. And but I actually in the perfect game I threw one cutter, one curveball, and probably roughly 12 to 15 sliders. I was just all fastballs, no changeups. I was just kind of hitting spots and blowing it by them. So that was fun. But I would say hitting spots with your fastball and getting ahead early is kind of the name of the game. And then if you get ahead, anybody that pitches can get you out.
Well, thank you, my friend. We appreciate you joining us. It's been a pleasure to get to know you. I have two hunters, and I'm much stronger because I have two hunters on this show. Best of luck to you. Have a great rest of the season.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you so much. Y'all have a good day.
What a year it's been for Jack Hurley at Virginia Tech. Obviously, his team having a darn good year, too. They have 20 wins already in the top 40 in the RPI. The talented outfielder who was a freshman All-American spends time with Hunter and I now. Hey, Jack, thanks for hanging out with Hunter and I. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
I know one thing you decided was to stay and play in Charlottesville last year. A little bit of summer ball, play for the Tom Sox. How much did that choice, which wasn't all your choice, but how much did that choice have to do with the kind of successes we're seeing this season in a real college season? That's a summer league. Did that translate into what's going on in 2022?
Yeah, there were some things that I definitely took away from the summer that, I brought with me here to Blacksburg. I think I had some pretty good guidance down in Charlottesville. There were some good coaches there that like a different opinion that I took into this season. Just some mechanic stuff that kind of opened my eyes, and maybe some changes that I needed to make my swing better and make me a better player in general. So definitely some things there that helped me out as a player. For sure.
Wow, Jack, that leads me into the first question I had for you right here, because, obviously it's a great jump and there's a lot of season left to go, and I'm sure you got more things you want to check off on goals for the season. But my question for you, Jack, was what, if any, adjustments were you working on and are working for you this year?
So last year, I think my hands just kind of went straight back. Not much rhythm. Over the off season, I developed a kind of like a rhythm type movement with the pitcher. So I got a barrel tip so my hands go up and then they come back down. So definitely that, and just a lot of rhythm stuff. And there was some mental changes that I made in the off season where I kind of just developed a mental strategy. If things weren't going my way, how am I going to act? When things are going my way, staying level headed and just in that medium range. So I think those two things definitely big impact. And then I switched my bat up. So I'm using a heavier bat. I think that actually has a big part of how I've been hitting the ball, just because it kind of keeps my hands a little slower, honestly, and just like through the zone for a longer period of time. So.
Wow, that's very interesting, Jack. And when I think of a bigger bat, and I love that you say slower, because I'm a big preacher of slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So because your bat is a little bit bigger, does that mean you feel like you have to do less to just get it there and let the bat do the work? Is that kind of what you're feeling?
Mm-hmm. I feel really confident with where my barrel's at. So I kind of, that heavier end loaded type bat, I can feel where that barrel is. As opposed to whenever I'm using more of a balanced bat, I can't really feel where that barrel is going through the zone. So this year I can definitely feel that barrel control, taking more of a jump. And really, yeah, it's slow, less effort, kind of, and just let the hands and back kind of do the thing.
That's beautiful, Jack. And I have to dive a little bit more in because to me, I think the mind is the most important tool in all of baseball. And you talked about shifting your mental approach and I love that, like not riding the wave of success and failure, is remaining neutral and learning from the successes and the failures. So tell me a little bit about your switched mental approach and where it started from and the direction and how you're applying it.
Yeah. So last year there was a bunch of ups and downs for my season and for the team. So I kind of rode those, like, I mean, a lot of freshmen do. A lot of younger guys tend to like ride those waves, the highs and the lows. And I think over the summer I kind of realized, like, if you want to be like a successful player, there's so many people have told me like you can't be riding those highs and lows. So I kind of developed a strategy where if I'm going through a rough patch or if I'm hot, like whatever it is, I'm just falling back on like what I have in front of me. So I'm at Virginia Tech and it's an awesome place. I've got a great family. I got great friends around me. So I kind of fall back on what I have and what I should be grateful for, and just realize that baseball is just a game at the end of the day, and it's fun to play. And I'll do anything. I love baseball, but at the end of the day, it is a game, and I've got a lot of other things in life that I can be happy for.
Gosh, what a great answer, Jack. What a great answer that is. By the way, leading the nation in hitting, 500 on base, 431 batting average. Jack had 44 hits last year all season. Still had a very good freshman year. He has 47 hits already this year, so he's gone past that mark. And finally we learned you're human. I mean, we didn't know if you were human for a long time this season. Look at that smile. Finally, your first over. Like, my goodness, how does one have it? Dude, it's April, and you have your first over finally. I would imagine for you, no hitter, and Hunter Pence can tell me, hitters never seek that. They want every hit to be the perfect game. But I would imagine, okay, what do I take away from that? Maybe you hit a few balls on the screws. But what an amazing start to the season, man. To hit in every game until just the other day.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, like, the streak was kind of hanging over my head. So in a way, kind of thankful that like I can just go out there and play and not to think about that. But it was cool. Definitely, I wouldn't want it any other way, obviously. But going 0 for 4 on Sunday, I mean, I kind of realized like maybe like if it's baseball, like I haven't really experienced all that low, but I mean, I felt good up there. I felt like I always do. So I mean, there's no changes I need to make. It's just baseball, and it didn't go my way that day.
And then there were these runs, right? I mean, 4 games where you had 3 hits in succession. That's crazy. Like, that's a crazy run for you. When you do your prep on those days, is it one of those things where you're a traditional baseball guy, you don't change a thing? Or is it one of those, and I'm talking beyond just simple-minded superstition. Did you back off on prep? Did you up your prep? Were there some certain drills that maybe had you feeling comfortable when you have a streak like that, when you do what you did against Tech and Pitt, Georgia Tech and Pitt, crazy runs in a row? Have you at all adapted kind of your preparation throughout this season, or has it been kind of very much I'm just sticking to status quo?
Yeah, I'm pretty superstitious. I got my way. Like what I do, I don't really change, and that's kind of how I've always been. Like my tee work, I do that stuff the same every day. I do that some arm work, like all that stuff. I do the same every day, and that just kind of helps me fall back on a routine that I can go to whenever I'm doing good or bad. I don't like to change it up just because I think what works for me, and I kind of understand that. But then I also understand like how my body's feeling. Maybe some days I need to take it lighter. Maybe I need more swing someday, feel out my swing a little bit more. But really just like let my body speak to me and keep those routines the same.
Jack, you keep leading me right into what I'm about to ask you, and I just wanted to ask you, like, can you tell us about your routine? You say tee work, you say some arm work, but what's important for you to feel before a game, and what is this routine? And I love that you're saying that it's consistent no matter whether I do great or bad. I trust my process and follow that flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I usually get up indoor facility and take some tee work prior to like a couple hours before the game. Just top hand work. So I move the tee up and in, and I just go top hand back of the cage, and then it's with a short bat. And then I'll take a short bat and I'll swing both hands, just line drives to the back of the cage, and then I'll do split grip. So split grip is I love doing split grip. It's you hold the bat kind of like right at the end of the tape, and then right at the bottom, and you can't roll over really. Like if you roll over, you get that immediate result where the ball didn't look good off the bat. It just backspin it to the other side, and then just really just swings set up middle on the tee, and that helps me kind of get comfortable, just feel out how my swing feels that day. And what I like to feel before games is just backspin to the opposite field and then backspin to the pull side gap. So those two things are what I like to feel in batting practice going into the game.
Very interesting, Jack. And split grip, and you talked about feeling your barrel. You'll feel your barrel in the split grip, the little hockey swing. I've done quite a bit of that. I want to ask a little bit about your teammates and the excitement. By the way, so I didn't know I was interviewing you today, but obviously everyone saw the Virginia Tech walk-off steal of home. I'm not sure who did that. I obviously just saw it through the social media, but can you take us through the walk-off steal of home, what that does for the team, who did it, and how it came about?
Well, it was snowing, so it was kind of crazy. There was snow coming down the field, and it was actually our freshman third baseman, Carson DiMartini, who's having a great year, and he's doing awesome for us. And I think I'm not too sure if he made the call on his own, but I think what went into that was, man, it's snowing. Like probably the pitcher's probably not going to be able to do quick hands and get it right on the catcher, but he actually did, and it was a close play. But I think it was just something that he timed up a couple pitches prior to whenever he actually went, and he got a really good jump. And I mean, he took the bag, and I mean, it was huge for us, huge for our team.
That was crazy instincts, and it was a bang play, and I'm sure that was wild. So I want to also ask, because looking at your offense, and obviously you're at 1353 OPS, but you have quite a few guys having great years. Obviously, Cade Hunter's right there with you, and a bunch of 1,000 OPS. So can you take us through, Jack, how you and your teammates are working together? Are you feeding off each other? Who's telling who what the pitcher's ball is looking like? Take us through the Virginia Tech offense and what's making y'all so successful.
Yeah, I think it starts with our preparation on game days and prior to game days. We have scouting meetings with our coaches, and they do a really good job in kind of giving us a heads up on what we're going to see that day. So definitely our coaches give us a good idea of that. And then once we get into the game, players do a good job relaying information. So yeah, say a guy he's got a high carry fastball, or he's got a ball that rides at the top of the zone. We always know that going into that at bat. So I think there's a lot of communication that's going on. And then plus it's we just feed off of each other, really. I mean, you put a ball in the barrel, it gives you a little bit more confidence whenever you see that from another guy. And that's happened a lot for us this year. So I think if we keep doing that and keep feeding off of each other, we'll be in a pretty good spot.
Gosh, Jack, as I think about what you've accomplished this year, I can't help but pause and ask about the impact of your dad, Tim. I know he played at Penn State. Gosh, I know your mom, Mary Ellen, was a good athlete too, ran at Shippensburg University. But as far as Dad goes and his journey as a baseball player, then being your father, kind of share with me about the impact he's had on you in both areas of your life.
Yeah, he's a guy I can go to when things are going good and bad, not about just baseball, but about life too. So, I mean, he's kind of been my rock on the field where I can go to with swing stuff, because he's always been my guy that has kind of developed me into the hitter I am today. He was a left-handed hitter. He loved going backside, and it must be genetic in a way, because he kind of passed that down to me. But no, he's been awesome. And they both him and my mom give me crazy support. They're here most weekends whenever we're playing, and to see them after the games, it's awesome. And see them in Blacksburg watching our team win is pretty cool.
I'm making a mistake in this space if I don't ask anything about kind of your youth and or travel ball journey. I know for Flood City Elite, Mike Conley, years ago, you went off at a qualifying event. You ended up playing down in Georgia in the summertime at the 17U WWBA, which is a crazy event. You had a bunch of plate appearances in that one too. How much impact did that journey have, the Flood City Elite team have, on your growth and development? Because you were jumping in right away. I mean, you made your debut February last year against Kent State, a couple of hits. You were ready to go. I'm going to guess that your travel ball experience helped prep you a little bit.
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, all those games that you play in the summer, I mean, you get there's tons of at-bats that you're getting in the summers, and they're against really good competition, especially in Georgia and in Florida at those perfect game events. I mean, some of the best competitions there, and you're going to compete against those guys. And really, I mean, I don't know where I'd be because I mean, it helped me get here at Virginia Tech. Those type of events. But really, Mike Connolly and Flood City Elite. I mean, that organization. I don't know where I'd be at if I didn't have them. Really.
All right, Jack, I got to jump in for a couple fun ones real quick. Describe, what would you call your haircut right now? Like, what is the name of this cut?
So I would love to say I got some flow on me, but I actually I got like no hair really here, so it's kind of like a mullet. But I just like it because whenever I put a hat on, it's not all crazy out to the sides. It's just in the back. So maybe a mullet.
Yeah, the new term is the wolf cut. Now, Halloween, are you going to go as Patrick Swayze? Because you got so many Patrick Swayze vibes right now. I'm sure that have you ever done that? Or are you is this the perfect primed hair?
That'd be pretty cool, but no, I haven't. I haven't even had that
Pro
idea.
tip, college Halloween party. You're P. Swayze, man. Watch some Dirty Dancing. You're going to crush it. I promise you. But let me ask you, though, who in the big leagues would you say has, like, the favorite, best hair in the big leagues? And who's your favorite? And also, who's your favorite player in the big leagues?
My favorite player in the big leagues, Christian Yelich. I love his game. He's awesome. He's awesome to watch. But I am a Pirates fan, so whenever they go against each other, it kind of I don't know who to root for. But best hair in the bigs. Bryce Harper's got some great hair. Brandon Crawford had some good hair. I mean, there was some guy. Yeah, that's your boy.
Yeah, man. He's got like that Johnny B curl gel, like, and he like times out his shampoo and conditioner. He brings it's like his own gel. It's like B Cross secret stuff. Like nobody gets into his gel. And there's gel out for everyone else, but B Cross just brings his own. So that's about cool. How much he cares. Well, I gotta give credit where credit is due, dude. You got the show hair. P. Swayze for Halloween. You're gonna crush it if you get the opportunity. But yeah. Love what you're doing and keep going, brother.
I appreciate it. I'll keep that in mind for Halloween next year.
Nothing more for me to say than thank you, Jack. We appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. That was fun. It's cool.
We want to thank Jack for hanging out with us. We also want to thank Hunter Hollan out of San Jack, the perfect game that he threw. His stories are very unique. Both these great guests, and Hunter Pence back as my co-host. Good to have him back by my side as well. We'll see you next week on Perfect Game College Baseball.